Hello everyone and welcome back to Running It Up. Today we are playing some $1, $2 no limit Texas Hold'em on ultimatepoker.com. And I had an interesting day today. I'll tell you guys about that in just a minute. Let's talk about, I guess, the players at our table today. I recognize Buddha from, actually I think we played them yesterday, and Bink we played with a bunch in the last couple of weeks. And I don't think we've ever seen this balance guy before. And then the two on my left look somewhat familiar, but I'm not sure. I think we played with this Taku guy before, and I don't think we've played with this guy. So, don't have a ton of reads. I mean, I know a little bit about Buddha and a little bit about Bink, but we got a position on those two guys, so we'll see if that turns out to be anything. And hopefully we'll run it up. So, I haven't updated the board, but I do have the bankroll number somewhere. We're right around like $1,810. Right around there. We lost 150 on the live stream on Sunday night. I think Sunday night? I think it was Sunday. Might have been Monday. But yeah, we lost like 150 on that stream then, so I haven't updated that yet for that. But yeah, I think we have a good shot. Let's try to run it up, see if we can just win a buy-in and then just be over 2,000. I'll make sure I do the math on camera if we do get close. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If you didn't see yesterday's video yet, we played a little 2-4 no limit. I played a bit of a tougher game. Tried to see, you know, I didn't want to put our run it up money on the line for, you know, 20% of our bankroll or whatever it was. I wanted to get in there. I had a feeling I was gonna get people were gonna try to put us in the cage at least. So I was anticipating that, and I thought it wouldn't be the best game to play with 4.5 buy-ins. So if you didn't check that out, though, that was kind of interesting. You should go probably watch that. That was kind of fun. Completed here against a post under the gun. I don't think we have any devious intentions this hand. By the way, how Conor McGregor like do I look today, huh? Little vest thing. Got a little the beard shaped up a little bit. Slightly. But I'm gonna keep it. I've actually changed my mind. I've actually changed my mind on the not keep the beard situation. Yeah. It's doing something. Huh? I'm not 100% sure what it's doing, but it's doing something. Ace and queen here on the button. We'll be raising if Buddha raises. We'll be raising, I guess, no matter what happens before us. I think 14 or 16 are both fine. If we knew our opponent was going to call, we would make it 16. Like, if we knew that our opponent didn't care whether it was 14 or 16, we'd obviously make it 16. When you're thinking about raise sizes like this, you should always kind of think about that. In that, not always think, but you can always think through this kind of lens of like, well, is our opponent going to call 10? Almost for sure. Is he going to call 12? I think he's probably calling 12 a lot. Is he calling 14? Probably very similar to how he calls 12. You know, at some point you lose him, right? Making it 24 is going to lose him 90% of the time. But I think 14 is a good size, and we got to test our opponent. You know, that's the only way you can do it. How you guys like my testing spear? It's like prodding in the cage. You know what I mean? Yeah. We know what you mean. I think we're going to start here with a bet. I'm going to bet on the smaller side of things because he doesn't fold hands better than ours, really. But once in a while, he'll call with worse. Flush draws, straight draws, worse ace highs. Once in a while, he'll call with king highs, that kind of thing. I don't ever anticipate that he's going to be calling us with, like... I don't ever anticipate that he's going to fold any pocket pair to us anyway, so I don't think sizing makes too big of a difference there. So I had an interesting day today. I had a bit of an interesting day. I had been invited about a month ago to attend this what was it? It was like social media in gaming or gambling. Social gambling and media. I don't know. It was some combination of social and gaming. And so I did it was like a panel type of a conference thing with me, A. Jones, the wizard A. Jones, Phil Gordon of, you know, Celebrity Poker Showdown originally fame. I was a huge fan of that show. I never missed an episode. So I think that was actually the first time I met Phil was tonight. And that was pretty awesome. So I met Phil. It was me, Phil, Aaron, and a guy named Jeff Hyman, who, if you're not familiar with his work, he's a social. I believe his actual business is in social free-to-play poker. He has a social free-to-play poker site, a couple other technology things he's involved in. So it was actually a really interesting panel. We talked about all sorts of things. I found it really interesting just to be on the panel to talk to these. We had Phil and Jeff, who were both more of the operators, and me and A.E. Jones, who were more of like the player slash. Both of us are very big into making videos, obviously, so that was a big thing we talked about as well. I had a blast. I thought it was awesome. I had a great time and really enjoyed that. I didn't even realize till too late that I could have invited people from Las Vegas to go watch, but you could have paid to see, but I didn't realize that until too late. Gonna check raise here. Don't think there's any reason not to check raise here. I mean, if he has an ace, he's not going to fold. If he has nothing, well, we weren't going to probably get that much money anyway. We could check call, whatever, but I think people will think that we could be bluffing here some percentage of the time. Might get stationed here by a pretty wide range. Maybe he calls with hands as bad as like a 7 every once in a while, which would be way behind. So I think we just do a little check raise here. King is a okay card for us. It's obviously not a fantastic card, but it's okay. I think we bet towards the high end, so it kind of looks like that we could be bluffing, like we've got like 5-6 or 3-5, our favorite hand. Maybe we have 3-5. If our opponent shoves, I will not be happy about it, but there's too often he's just got like ace queen, ace jack, and is just like making a stand, so to speak. Ace on the river is a beautifully good card for us. We could definitely be beat by hands like 2 7s or ace king. Like both of those hands are very possible, but way more likely he just has like ace jack, ace 10, something like that. So we just shove, and let's see what our opponent decides to do here. Don't think there's any other sizing besides all in. Like if our opponent's gonna call 100, he's probably calling 120. So there's really not too many hands that like want to call for cheaper but wouldn't call a shove. I believe, at least. We don't know our opponent, so maybe it's possible, but... Alright, picked up a sweet hundo there. Regardless of the fact that we didn't get 120 extra on the river. Still happy with that little pickup there. We're getting close. We're getting close to the $2,000 mark again. I will double check before I make any proclamations. I won't make the same mistake twice, where I was like, oh yeah, bitches, that's right, $2,000, feeling good about it. That's right, that's what I do when I'm happy. I won't make any proclamations until long after the fact, but until I at least double check. Def betting twice here, do I love it? No, I don't love it, but it's certainly fine. Bet once, bet twice, maybe we bet 3 times. She says no thanks, no need. Alright, no problem. So yeah, that was all of that. We were there for like an hour. Very interesting. Talked all about different things. Everyone has their own like different projects. We all had like our different world that we were specifically in, and I had a great time. I thought it was awesome, educational. We had a crowd of like 40 people, something like that. I counted twice. I got 40 both times, so I know exactly actually. There was definitely 40 people there. And it's good to me to know. I like to know these things. How many people are in the room? You ask, nobody knows. I want to know. So now I know in the future. I've at least, these things matter to me. Whatever, J. Carver. You're nuts. The voice all of a sudden became a little like Michelle Tanner from, Full House. All of a sudden it became, how wooed. Much closer than our normal like nerd ragey voice. I could not bet, but if we don't bet, we can't win. And I want to have a shot at winning, so this is our shot at winning. Our opponent will fold hands that are better than us. We have 8-10. Of course he'll fold hands that are better than us. And I think he folds them often enough that we'll probably be okay. At this point, I'm probably doing the whole white flag thing. I'm over it. I mean, it's possible that we could just bet here, but we don't know this opponent. He called, not like he called much, but he called our $8 isolation raise on the button. So I think we just check down, see what he has, learn some lessons, go from there. I mean, we could definitely try to bluff. I'll be sad if he has like 2 3s, because 2 3s obviously would have folded. But let's see what he got from there. We'll make our adjustments. Okay, so that hand wasn't folding on turn anyway, and that was probably the best spot to put pressure on if we were going to put pressure here. Maybe, I mean, obviously, if I knew his exact hand, I could just bet, but I'm interested. That makes sense. He called ace-jack. That makes sense. And then he check-called flop, which also makes sense. And then he checked turn, and then checked river. I think he played his hand totally sensibly, and I think so did we. Everyone wins. Oh, how sweet. Oh, that's right. I'm making a heart with my fingers. Oh no, I'm not. I knew I shouldn't have even tried. I knew I shouldn't have tried. I should have just accepted the heart that I made the first time with the writing. I guess we could just call here. Oh my god, then the microphone's in the way. Damn it. I had no practice of this. I'm just... Oh, damn it. Alright, I completely give up. I tried and failed. So we called here with queen 10 of spades, and it looks like... I mean, I would like to see a turn card here if I could help it. We have got 3 straight, 3 flush, 2 overcards, second pair, especially when our first guy checks. I am defs betting. I mean, if we get this guy to fold, we will definitely win this hand relatively often. That doesn't happen. We still have a shot at winning this hand. Obviously, the best turn card for us is a queen 10 or a jack. Queen is O, right? So we have a decision between checking and betting. I don't think a king is ever folding from either player, right? So I don't think we're trying to get a king to fold. We're not trying to get anything to fold at this point. But I think we can get bet twice here for like a little bit of value and protection. Maybe we should just check and let it check through, and then we get one street on the river we can bet. That might make sense. These guys, I mean, these guys might be more likely to have a king between the two of them than they are to have 2 hands that are not kings. So I think maybe we should just check and just bet river for value instead of betting turn for value. I actually think we should just check here. Let's say that both opponents have like 2 7s and 2 8s. If we bet turn, 2 7s is like, well, shit, I don't want to call turn and river. So I think we check turn and let people just like pilot themselves to river, where now they can just say, oh, well, now the hand's over. I'll see what they got. So if it checks to us, we are defs betting for value. I mean, it's possible that one of these guys has a king, but, you know, I've seen no evidence to believe that is likely the case. So we shall bet and see what happens. $24 seems like right in the neighborhood. One fold. I think the more likely person to have a king here was Pasta, so I feel all right about this at this point. Buddha raised under the gun, so has a pretty wide range of pocket pairs that could call, but okay. Clearly we had the best hand unless something really weird happened and somebody folded a king. I'd really doubt that though. Look at this discipline. 10-6 suited? No thank you. No thank you. I don't need your 2 hearts. So yeah, that was kind of interesting little thing, and then obviously I ran around and ended up in this little get-up. And now here we are, doing some running it up. Running up number like 70, 76, 77, 78, 78 maybe. I didn't even remember at the top of the video. I didn't check in advance, so I just gave up. I didn't even try. Usually I keep relatively good track, but high stakes, there was a high stakes Tuesday yesterday. It was like a mid stakes Tuesday. And and then there was a stream on Monday, so I haven't looked in like 5 days, so I wasn't 100% sure. I hate being wrong. I'd rather just omit. You feel me? Yeah. We feel you, Jay Carver. Shut the fuck up. Play some poker, bitch. Oh my god, all of a sudden you got really aggressive there. I was just being nice and just making small talk and you're just shitting on me. Alright, sure. If that's the relationship we're gonna have, I guess alright. Whatever. Oh yeah, Def's calling here. We got 2 cards in a row. If only this was live poker, we would be flipping to have a pair. We look at a 10 and then a 9 and we just see the edges and go, oh wow. So we're going to start with a check, and then we're going to call, and then we're going to check. So wake me up when the turn card comes, and I'll let you know what our next decision is. It's true, right? There's nothing else, really. This is the only route that this hand can go. I mean, check raising would be, you know, that's just backwards, really. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So we could bet out here, but betting out here doesn't make a lot of sense as well. What do we have? King, queen, and we're just like, bet against a guy we've never seen before? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So we will check and make a decision. I mean, I think I'm probably going to call here. Could we be beat? Yeah, of course. But he can have spades. He can have jack 10. He can have, you know, just straight up bluffs. I don't like getting bluffed. Let's see a river card, dealer. Pretty good river card for us. I mean, you know, we only lose to queens and like pocket tens plus, realistically speaking. He can bet, you know, he's going to bet pretty widely here. Like he can bet tens, jacks, any queen, any deuces that he does have. So we've got a decision between folding and calling, obviously. He can. I don't think he bets hands like. Does he bet hands like king 9? He might bet hands like king 9. There are a good amount of value hands, but I think that he'll probably bluff at a high enough frequency. We don't really know our opponent, but I think I'm going to call. I mean, I just think there are so many hands that can just bet flop and turn that we just can't fold a hand as good as 10-9 on the river here. I mean, it's interesting that he decided to bluff with that exact hand because that hand beats jack 10, right? So he even beats jack 10. He beats jack 10. He beats all the straight draws. He beats all the straight draws. He beats all the no pair hands, right, with ace king. Not that it matters because ace high would chop, but you know he chops all my ace highs and beats all my no pairs, but he still bet river. I think that's probably just a mistake, a slight mistake on his part. If you really think about, like, if you really dissect the hands I show up with, right? I mean, obviously, forgetting who I am. So just, you know, we're playing the hand from the ace king's point of view. If you're into these videos for poker training, this is it. Put on your poker wizardry caps for a second. So if you imagine that you raise preflop with ace king, comes queen 9 deuce, you bet, your opponent calls. Turn is a queen, you bet again, your opponent calls. So assuming your opponent is a reasonable person, your opponent has jack 10, maybe some straight draws, you know, some like king 10s, king jacks type of things. He has 9s, he has pocket pairs, he has ace highs if he's really sticky, you know, stuff like that. And if you look at all those like different yeah, this. If you look at all those different, ooh, that's kind of a little sexual at the end there. I don't know what that was all about. I wanted to do like, you know, like fingers on the end of a tree. If you look at all the branches of the hands, somehow that became fondling. But if you look at all like the different like we have ace highs, pocket pairs, queens, 9s, jack, you know, all that. If you look at all that stuff and then put it into the cauldron of things that, you know, what do I fold? You know, what do we just, you know, when you look at what your bet accomplishes with ace king on the river, I just think the answer is doesn't accomplish very much. Now, he got me to consider folding a 9, which is great. You know, that's certainly fine. But if I'm not folding a 9, which, you know, I'm not, if I'm not folding a 9, then I don't think I really like his bet on the river with his exact hand. Gonna raise this. Could also call, I think. Also, it's possible, if not probable, that we're actually over 2K right now. But I'm not gonna worry about things like that. We're just gonna play some pokers and then see what it ends up at the end of the session. I'll break out the abacus and figure that out from there. So Buddha min raised, we re-raised, you know, in an attempt to get the pot heads up and have position. We still have position, not as heads up as we wanted, but, you know. Let's see a flop dealer. So I'm probably not going to bet this flop. I think it's pretty unlikely that we're going to get it through 3 people here, 2 of whom cold called. That's a very hard word for me to say with my Long Island accent. I think we just check and give up, and hopefully we just drill the old 6 of diamonds, the old 6 of blue on the turn here. I just don't think it's very likely that we're going to get through 3 people on an ace-queen 4 board like this too often. So I think we just give up. And now we probably will just fold. I don't think there's much else that we should do. I mean, I know we have a flush draw, and we're getting actually a really, really good price, but we could just be drawing dead right now. You know, if he has 2 7s with a 7 of clubs, we're drawing dead. So, as much as I like the price we're getting, and I do like a good bargain, I think we just say, see you later. Enjoy the money. That's right, I just threw a business card, as though it was a card. Queen and 10. I believe we're going to be raising it up. I think we can make it 6, seems fine. Doesn't really seem like a super re-raisey type of game, so I'm fine making it a little bit bigger. We play bigger pots while I have position. That seems like a good deal for me. King 5 and 3. Again, not a bad flop. I say that a lot, I guess. I'm very optimistic with my flop weather forecasting, you know? Gonna start with a bet. Make some decisions as to whether or not we bet some turns and rivers, but we're certainly going to start with a bet. One customer remains. Didn't nail the queen ball this time, which would have been nice. I would have bet on a lot of turn cards. You know, I would have at least considered betting on any card higher than a 9. But I think on a deuce, we just check back and say, all right, let's see a river card dealer. Hopefully we spike a 10 or a queen. Otherwise, we're probably just in the give-up boat again. I feel like I've given up twice this video, which is unusually high of giving up. But I don't think that these have been great spots to attack in. You know, like, could we have given this guy the old bet? Yeah, I guess. Bet. You know, we could have, but I didn't think that was particularly high chance of working out. So actually, I bet you that we're very close to what that number is on the board right now, because we lost like 150 the last session, and now we're up like 150 this session. So I bet you we're right around 1960 right here. So we probably have to get to around that $400 mark at this table for us to be back up and around the old 2K ball. I will pull a couple of Dear J Carvers today. Haven't pulled any in a while, but I have been reading I have started to read through some of the old ones because we were so flooded there because we did so many of the we did the promotion, the 1% giveaway free roll thing last week. So I got so many emails last week, it was crazy. I mean, there was a day last week that I got 100 messages in a day, not counting like comments or YouTube messages or Twitter. Purely Facebook and email alone. That's awesome though. It's great. I love the love. It's a wonderful thing. You know, we're bearding it up. Everyone, I'm surprised at the reviews. The reviews have been pretty good, almost universally good. Oh, you know, there hasn't really been too many people that have really hated the old beardy locks J Carver. You know, kind of like hot nurse Barbie. Well, it's a beardy locks J Carver. That's what this is here. I especially like it with this whole, like, we're very Conor McGregor-esque. We got the beard, we got the vest. I got a nice little jacket over there. I'm wearing this. I put this whole thing together. I'm wearing this for my big exciting day tomorrow. I'm headed over to, in not that many hours from now, I'm headed off to LA for the day to hang out with Kenny Florian and probably the person that I'm most excited to meet that in my entire life, and I've met some pretty amazing people in my life that I was very excited to meet, but I've never been as excited to meet the one and only Chael P. Sonnen. So I'm really excited about that. I'll be putting up tons of pictures tomorrow, Instagram, Facebook, and should be back in time to hopefully make a pretty sweet little video and show you guys some of those sick pictures from that. So I actually won a charity auction. There was a charity auction to benefit wounded veterans. And one of the prizes was to go to the Fox production studios and be a part of UFC Tonight. And I was like, yes, please. That sounds like exactly the kind of thing that I would pay money for. So that's what I did. And that's where I'm going. 3 straight. 3 flush. Who needs it? Who needs it? Just say no. Just say no to 3 flushes and 3 straights. That's not true. It's the opposite of how I feel. Just say yes. I'm the bad devil on your shoulder. I bet that's true for a lot of run-up warriors out there. You'll be having a decision. You're looking at your cards. You're like, man, I mean, I used to fold this hand all the time. I used to think King High was trash, but, you know, hey, I guess J Carver says we should call. And then you call and you lose and blame it on me. And you hate me for that. I'm sorry, you know? You have to attend Run-Up Training Legion Squadron Academy. We have to do one of those in person. Then I'll have you guys all go out throughout the world. We'll scatter you around the world, crushing poker tournaments left and right. All the warriors throughout the world. How fun would that be? I'm totally up to do things like that. I've got plans. There are plans in motion. That's what this is right here. This is motion. This is the wheels in motion. That's right. So this guy tank times out and checks. I am going to bet for sure we have a gut shot and a purr. It's at least somewhat possible he just check folds now, which is fine. I mean, no matter what he has at least 25% equity. You know, if he just has 6-9 offsuit, he is doing okay against us. Very happy to call here against a check raise. You know, we can obviously just spike the old 4 or deucer, which would probably mean we got the rest of the stack a decent percentage of the time. Could also be bluffing, you know. Could also just be like, I'm just going to check raise, bluff this guy. So there's at least some percentage of the chance, some percentage of the time he just checks the turn, which was, it looks like what was going to happen here. So the question is now, do we bet or check? I actually kind of think I like betting a little bit better because, you know, we can very easily have a hand like ace-10, ace-queen, ace-jack. Why can't we have a hand like that? And I think once in a while he'll fold 3s, 5s, like he was like, I'm going to check raise and see where I'm at. And we call anyway, and he's like, well, shit, I guess I'm beat, and then check folds. So that's what I think might have happened, but he could have just been putting on his bluffing shoes and trying to give us the business. But no. We give the business here. We're in the business of giving the business, lest you forget. Get out of here with your trying to check raise with me. I like how I like trailed off. I was like, yeah, just, you know, just I'm totally now with the beard and everything. I'm totally headed towards. I'm gonna be the rambly, mumbly old man soon enough. 26, getting up there. I used to be the only baby in the poker room. I used to be the youngest one. That was it. 18. Now, that's it. Retired. Basically a working man, working 12 hours a day or more. Whatever. Who cares? Loving it, though. Let's pull some Dear J. Carvers. Huh? Oh, this is a fun one. Right off the top. Okay, sure. All right, you got it, kid. I'll read your email. Dear J. Carver. I'm reading exactly word for word what this email says. Dear J. Carver. And it's top of my pile, too. That's what it says. It's a poem, a run-it-up poem. He is the sheriff, he claws in pots. He charges a tariff, then drills it lots. His name is Jason, he runs it up. He only eats craisins, he says, what's up? I don't think the craisins part is true, but good rhyming, I like it. Online poker is his game. He's going to give me a piece of his action. He has Anderson in a frame. I used to. I'm a member of his Run It Up faction. Oh, you rhymed action and faction. Sorry, I shouldn't have put my 2 cents in. I've ruined your stanza. Because of him, I've learned a ton. He will ship this tourney, which would be fun. In closing, sorry if this is corny, but run it up. Best, Nick. Loved your email, Nick. I'd be happy to send you one of our fantastic, lovely, beautiful posters if you want one. Definitely think poetry deserves a poster, right? I'd be very happy to send you one of these little bitches. That's right, one of these little old fellas. So I've got a couple of these left that I will give away during this week. You know, I don't need you to, you know, don't campaign for it. Campaign for whatever. You know, I've got a couple left over here. If I'm happy to give them away, and I'm gonna have like 100 of these to ship out to people as of like the end of this week or beginning of next week. So I'm gonna ship them out to people at cost for me. So they're like the posters, they're different sizes and stuff. I guess we just check. I was in a bluff and then I gave up. Whatever. I give up. You got it, kid. You got it. Go buy some more hair dye. Bitch, go buy some more hair dye. Huh? If only I was like that. I was just like some nasty old guy that was just with his crazy beard, just braiding people, you know, whatever. That would be something. I bet you there would not be nearly as many Run It Up warriors. So we raised to $6 here on the button with the old Jack and the 4. Managed to flop ourselves the old jack ball, so we're going to start with a bet. Could have bet a little bit smaller than this, but whatever. I mean, could have bet $7, you know. It's very hard to be a precision bettor because, you know, we're in the right ballpark, but I think I probably should have bet 7 rather than 8 or like 6 rather than 8. But it looks like we got paid off here, which is cool with me. So on the ace turn card, we have a decision between checking and betting. I think I'm actually going to bet here twice. Not going to bet a ton, because I don't want him to fold if he has a hand like 2 7s, even though he probably will be tempted to. But I don't want him to fold if he has a hand like 2 7s. I'd rather have him just call. So we're going to bet here twice, as if we are just bluffing with a hand like king and queen. 6 on the river doesn't really change much unless he has 3-4. At this point, I'm going to just check back. He can definitely have some ace highs that check call flop. He could have just ace 10, check call, ace 4, ace 5, check call, or sorry, ace 3 or ace 4, check call, and now here we are. So I don't think that makes a lot of sense to bet river. We lose here like 30% of the time. Not this percent of the time, though. Actually, 30 was probably too high. Probably closer to like 25, maybe even low 20s. We might be over 2K. It's possible. 'Tis a possibility. So I made it 6, and he still called with 5-4 offsuit in the big blind. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but it's just definitely information worth noting. So against Pasta's big blind, when we're on the button, I'm going to be definitely making it 6. I might even try making it 7. Because, well, why not make it 7? How do you know if he'll call $7 until you make it $7 and see what he does? Am I right, people? You won't know until you experiment. That's why you gotta do the jabs. That's it. Conor McGregor dressed up and everything. That's why you gotta do the jabs. You gotta test your opponent, see what they're doing, see how they adjust. Like I said miles ago, a long time ago in these videos, I think it's very important that you got to test your opponents out. Otherwise, how do you know what they're capable of? You could be playing a full day of poker with somebody who has an enormous leak. The guy to your left, I've got good news for you. The guy to your right folds all the time. Well, that's actually not great. The guy on your left folds all the time to check raises. All the time. He just always believes them. That's great information. But, if you don't have a check raise heavy strategy, maybe you don't find out for hours at a time. That's not really good for you, is it? Looks like this person is timed out. So it's very important that you keep you want to establish that test people. See, are they calling just as much 6, 7, 5? I think if you're really trying to be a perfect robot, perfect, optimal poker playing drone, I think it's very important that you kind of test people out and mix it up a little bit. Otherwise, you will never find their weaknesses. That's right. Words of wisdom. Thank you, Jay Carver. Tell us more. More, please. Huh? I don't know what voice that is. That's another different one, I guess. We were talking on stream the other day about how if I had a run it up apprentice that we were talking about how that I've been accused of being condescending before, many times. In fact, I would even go so far as to say. So once again, before we continue that, I have a point for that story, but we have a decision between checking and betting here, and to be honest with you, I think I'm just going to give up here. I feel like I've given up now 3 times in this video, and you guys see, I don't always give up. I hate giving up, in fact. But, at this point, I kind of feel like I'm adjusting towards being a little bit tighter as people kind of get a reputation, hear the reputation of me being a little bit looser. I don't know who knows what or whatever, but none of that really makes a difference. I'll just play a little bit. I'm just playing a little bit tighter when it comes to getting my bluffing shoes on, so to speak. Going to raise here because there's a dead $1 out there, and once we get through these 2 people, we'll have position at least. This is a great spot for Pasta, whatever, to re-raise us. So, still not going to fold though. 12 to win 28, I'm in there. I'm definitely in there. That's not enough to get me to fold. We could also re-raise if we were playing for my money and not running up bankroll money. I would be more inclined to re-raise because it would be fine. But we're opening ourselves up. We make it 50 or 40 something. He shoves. That's very fine. I'm fine just calling. I think that's a very fine way to play when we have 20% of our bankroll on the table. That is a beautiful flop for the 9 and the 10. Any 7 or jack makes us a straight. My plan is probably to check call, not check raise. We could check raise. It's a possibility. It's not a thing that I'm 0% to do. So if we check raise, we can't fold, which is okay, but not great. I actually kind of think I prefer to check call. If a turn card is a 10 or 9... I guess a 5 doesn't really help us. We could check raise. Maybe we should just check call. All right, let's just check call. Bink! That's a good turn card for us, just the old jacker. Gonna start with the check. If our opponent bets, we're all in. If our opponent checks, we probably just bet on the river ourselves. That's an unfortunate check and very unfortunate river card. So I'm for sure gonna just bet here at this point. I mean, I guess we could check and give him an opportunity to bluff, but we haven't seen him bluff in the past when he's been presented the opportunity. So I think we just bet like $40 flat and just say, hopefully you have ace queen or something that wants to call. All right. That's right. So once again, we didn't get all the money, but we did get some of the money, which is fine with me. Rays end up here with king, queen of spades. Nice little heater we're on. For show, over $2,000 right now. So we could have check raised flop. I mean, that's certainly. I actually think that if you were going to look back, if you showed 10 professional poker players that hand, I mean, give them the full dynamics, the read the history, everything like that. If you gave 10 poker players that hand, I think more of them would check raise than check call. But given the biggest factor for me to why I check call versus check raising, it's almost like a tournament where you don't really want to just put your stack. You don't necessarily want to just it's not necessarily exactly the same thing as a tournament concept, but because we have limited funds, we don't really want to just blast in there with $200 or whatever it is. So check calling is like a little bit of a less risky way to play, ever so slightly. Pretty good flop here for us. If our opponent goes to war, we are obviously not going anywhere. Very good turn card for us. Same thing as we said on the flop remains true. Going to bet here again. I think 25 is a fine number. It's a lot, but, we're going to bet 25 with a whole bunch of hands that are nowhere nearly as good as king, queen. That is a sad river card for us. I'm actually going to check and then just call. I mean, you say, why are you calling Jay Carver? He could have a flush. Well, he also could have jack 10, 7, 8, or any number of straight draws. So we actually could have even considered just betting the river because... So here's the reason why I checked, right? I checked river because once in a while he'll turn... Okay, remember we did that before? We're going to do that again right here. So let's think about this. What does he do on the river? This is probably some of the best poker advice I've ever given out for free. Get ready for this. Get your slates out, right? I'm even going to fold this hand so I can explain this clearer. Yeah, clearer. That's a good start. So the board is queen, 9, 6, 6, deuce with the flush draw getting there on the river, right? What does our opponent do with jack 10 on the river if we bet? What does our opponent do with jack 10 on the river if we check? What does our opponent do with 7, 8 on the river if we check? What does our opponent do with 7, 8 on the river if we bet? What does our opponent do with 10, 8 on the river if we bet? What do we do on the river with 10, 8 if we check? If you want to be good at poker, you should think about every single one of these things, and you would lump that into a mental cauldron, as we like to do. And from there, we'll spit out your answer as to whether or not it is better to check or to bet, right? So if your question is, hey, Jay Carver, what do I bet or I check? I don't know what to do here. Well, what happens when he has no pair? What's the best thing to do? The answer is check. Give him a chance to bluff. What's the best thing to do if he has a 9? Well, depends. Is our opponent the collie type or the bluffy type? If our opponent is the collie type, then our best thing to do is to bet and pretend that we have a hand like king jack and let our opponent call. If our opponent is the bluffy type, maybe he'll turn that 9 into a bluff and we should check. And we do the same thing with every different level of hands. So we look at what happens when he has a flush. Well, if we bet, he shoves. Okay. What happens if we check? Well, he just bets. Okay, so we save a little bit of money that way sometimes if he doesn't shove. That's something. This person is really trying to get me to bet here. Well, you got it now for show. $6. That's right, pay me. Oh, brutal. Brutal. So sick. Yeah. So, if he has a flush, whatever, who cares? So what? You have a flush. He has a flush 15 or less % of the time. Because he called 25 on the turn into 31. Doesn't have too many flushes. He has way more not flushes than he has flushes. And then you look at queens, you look at everything, blah, 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 like we said. So I'm not going to go through everything one at a time. But if you really want to get good at poker, practicing that thought process about 10,000 times, you'll be good to go. It's true. It's totally fine if you want to take out a piece of paper or a paint file. I have some old paint files that I did that exercise with students of mine years ago. I have some old paint files with these huge decision trees as to what your opponent will do with each different portion of the hands he shows up with on the river, and then we kind of back calculate that to what our hand is, and we can even calculate that further looking back on to all the hands we can show up with. So look at if you want to understand how like a high stakes player would approach a river decision, you would look at that hand and say, okay, well, how often do I want to be bluffing in this spot? How often do I have jack 10? How often do I have 10-8? Does that hand do we more often want to bet here or check here? And then that's where the fun comes in, where you start leveling each other and thinking, well, he knows that I know that he knows that I know, and whatever and all that. So clearly betting here for value because he checked back on turn. He could have the best hand. He could have a king and be tricky and check back on turn, but I feel pretty good about this one just being a straight up value blast right there. This has been a pretty nice little heater of an episode here, huh? We've just been cruising. Very happy to raise against the post with ace and the 9. Let's see if Burger King Buddha over there wants to call. That's not his fault. Just the avatar looks like he's wearing like a Burger King hat, you know? The Europeans are like, we have no idea what they were talking about. What accent was that? I have no idea. I didn't even think about it in advance. I just closed my eyes in like Pocahontas style. I was just like, whatever. I didn't even think twice. I just threw myself into the voice. That's right. Who out there thought Pocahontas style was what I was going to say? If there was one of you, congratulations. You're watching too much Run It Up. Not that there's such a thing. I'm going to check back here on the turn. We could definitely have the best hand. I am for sure not folding now. Could we bet for value? Yeah, I guess it's possible, but I think I'm happy just checking back. We're going to win the pot pretty often. Oh, yeah. No good. Could have got value from King 6, exactly. To be honest, that hand could have actually given us some value with the old King High. But all right, we'll let you get off this one for free, bud. He was in really bad shape. We had the clubs covered. Let's try making it $7 here. See how this works out for us. Another effect that this might have is that once in a while making a 7 here will encourage our opponents to be more re-raisy instead of call-y, which is not necessarily a good or a bad thing, but it is a thing. So it's something that you should at least see if it happens. So now we're playing a little bit bigger of a pot here in position. Going to start here with a bet. I think 8 is probably fine. We are a favorite to have the best hand, that's for sure. If our opponent calls, we have some decisions to make on later streets. If our opponent check raises, I'll be dubious. But when am I not? It's very hard to have hands that are really good. It's very hard. I know because I play a lot of them. I need to get like a little drum set over here or something for jokes like that at least. Gonna bet here twice. He'll definitely fold better hands than us. He'll fold better ace highs. Maybe he'll fold even hands that have a lot of equity, like 5-7 would be fine to have that fold, you know, whatever. Could also check back. That would be okay. And at this point, I think we just check, right? If he has pocket 4s, pocket 5s, he's probably not folding those hands anyway. If he has better than that, he's almost for sure not folding. And we win this every once in a while against just like a 4 or 5 type of hand. Lose to kings, of course. That doesn't shock me much. So we were ahead pre on flop and pre-end flop, but then behind on turn and check back on river. So I think if he's calling with king 10, he's probably calling with ace highs, clearly. If he's calling with king 10, you would assume he's going to call with ace 7, and ace 7 is pretty likely to fold on turn, I think. So, okay, I feel all right about that. Probably going to play here for another orbit, one more orbit probably, and then wrap it on up. We did read one Dare J Carver, but hey, at least we gave them a poster. There's that at least. I think I'm feeling. I'm on my own bike today. It's 2 days in a row. I feel like I'm just biking. I want to do a not like a Q&A kind of thing, but I think it would be awesome to use Google Hangouts, which integrate with YouTube, and to do some sort of like a live Q&A where we kind of like open up the floor to questions. You guys can write questions in. We can vote questions somehow, supposedly. Don't ask me how that works. But I think it would be awesome. So if you like that idea, let me know. That's what the comments are for. Comment. And be like, hey, Jay Carver, here's my comment. Yo, Jay Carves, love the idea. Let's Google Hangout all the time. All right, sure. You sound like a great fun person to hang out with. I'm sure you're very nice. You know? Don't be so sensitive over there, weepy eyes. You know? Well, it looks like balance over here decided to re-raise, but we're not folding because we have 5-7 of puppy dog feet. Let's see 3 dealer. Also a little bit deeper, which is sweet for us. That's a pretty good flop for us, to be honest. It's a flop that will probably scare ace-king and ace-queen into not betting. Might even scare a hand as good as like aces and kings into not betting, but that would be pretty silly. If our opponent bets here, he is going to be in for some troubling turn cards because 8s and 10s and spades and 5s and 7s are all very good for us. So let's see a turn card dealer. If it's something scary, we're going to bet. If it's something that improves us, we are probably going to check, especially if it's a 7. Actually, 5 or 7, we would probably just check and let him bet. So given that he bet on flop, I kind of think that his hand is probably something better than us. I believe we are not in first place right now. Assuming our opponent bets something like 45 or higher, we're just going to fold here. If we were playing for Jason Somerville money, I would love to check call and then do some bluffins on cards like this one. But, you know, I wasn't planning on it. Definitely going to bet on this river, though, just because, you know, there's just no reason not to. If he has ace-king, ace-queen, that hand we're beating anyway. It goes check-check, we just win. But let's say he has a hand like 2-8s. 2-8s actually would beat us. Let's say he has a hand like ace-7 suited. That hand's going to fold. I'd rather just bet. Let's say he has a hand like ace-10. That hand's just going to fold. We should bet. I mean, might not fold, but at least is somewhat likely to fold. Ooh, that's a surprise. That's very, very surprising. Like, what do you have that plays it this way? I don't believe this, like, at all. I wish I had a time bank, to be honest. This is one I would like to really, really think about. I'm not going to call. If it was for Jason Somerville money, I would be so tempted to call, because what in the world do you have? You have 2-8s exactly? Come on. Even that, why wouldn't you just call? That doesn't make any sense. We could have very possibly just got bluffed there, but, oh, man. At least he didn't give us the old King Deucer, or whatever it is. Just flash it down on the table. Man, maybe we bet too much. Maybe we bet too much on the river, and I would have bet 60 with having it, too. I've been betting pretty big this whole session. Yeah, that's annoying, but I think that's fine. All right. Very disciplined fold. Extreme discipline. Extreme discipline. That's probably just bad. That's probably just bad. I was too hurt. My mind's not in it. You know, I'm too hurt by the river shove. I don't know. What do you guys think? How could he have it? How does he have a hand that has spades that shove the river? Him having a straight probably wouldn't shove the river. He probably just calls if he has an 8. If he has king, queen, maybe he shoves the river, but, you know, come on. What's the story you're trying to sell me here? You have ace, king of spades? That makes sense. Could have ace, king of spades. I've made some thin calls like that, and I feel like for run it up money, if I click call there and he just has like ace, queen of spades, everyone's like, well, of course he did, fucking idiot. But if it was Jay Carver money, I'd be so tempted to just stick it in there. It's so worth it for me at this point in my life to put $170 in the pot, because if I win, I'm like, yeah, I didn't think so, bitch. And if I lose, I go, okay. So it would have been worth it for me, but not worth it to put the old run it up money on the line. I care too much. Gonna start here with a okay, and we end here. Couple more hands, then we're gonna wrap this video right on up. One more for the road. So I'll be all over Facebook and Instagram tomorrow. So if you don't follow me already, facebook.com/jcarverpoker, instagram.com/jcarverpoker. I'm slutting it up all over the place today, but at least I'm dressed nicely. At least I'm a well-dressed slut. How'd you guys like that? I started doing it a little bit, and then I stopped myself because I was like, oh my god, and then I just did it again. So, and then you got a recap. That's the recap of the whole thing. Thanks for the play-by-play. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. It's just what happened. That's it. Hey, hour-long videos. You know, it's got to happen. Oh yeah, we're gonna end this video. Raise to 6 with our pocket 6s under the gun. Let's do it. One more for the road. Balance calls. Flop set over set. Just crush him. $800. We ride off on our little pony. Right on out of here. Could happen. All right, that's not gonna happen, but We will see a flop. Okay, so we have a decision between checking and betting. You guys know which way I usually lean towards. But I actually think we're going to check. Oh my god, that's so sad. I don't think we can. Let's not check. Let's bet. If this guy folds, which hasn't happened too often in this video, but if this guy folds, then we're in position against Bink, and we can probably get it done pretty often against Bink. Maybe this is a little too ambitious, but... okay. It might have been a little too ambitious. I feel like I've quit so much. I wanted to be a role model for the kids. You know, don't just quit. You know, you gotta try, at least. You know, better to try and fail than to just be like, I don't want to bet. I'm scared. Nah, get out of here. Nah, get out of here. Go put on a vest. You know, then you'll feel like a man. Let's see. you'll feel strong, like an adult. You know, whatever. As soon as this hand is over, because I'm actually kind of curious. Ooh, let's see the cards. All right. Well, we were ahead on one count. Kind of, sort of, slightly. All right, so let's do some math before we get too into it here. So let's pull up. I'm gonna pull up the run it up. Whoops. I'm gonna pull up the run it up stream. All right, let's do this. All right, so today we won $204.09. So we won. Let's do this. So we won, I don't know if you guys can even read those numbers, but we won $204.09, and add that to our 1963.52. Clearly puts us over, but then how much did we lose on the stream? We lost... Did I pull up a calculator at the end like I hope I did? Yeah, we lost. We were in for 160, and we ended up cashing out for 41. So we ended up losing 118.76. We did it! That's right, we did it. Officially 100% over $2,000. Finally did it. Ended there, landed there, stuck the landing. $2,048.85. We did it. Look at that. Perfect. Finally got it done. We've been trying to get over 2,000 for so long. Finally got it done. Nice little heater today. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget, use the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought. Also, facebook.com/jcarverpoker. Go post on my wall over there and be like, hey, Jay Carver, loved the video today. Hope you're having fun in LA. Because let me tell you, I will be having fun in LA, and as you'll see by the pictures. So I think that's about it for me for now. Thanks so much for watching as always. Nick, don't forget, email me about your poster. I want to give you a poster. Send me an email. Or Facebook actually is even better. Facebook is actually way better. So message me on there. And that's about it for me. I will see you guys back for more very soon. Peace.